So it looks like the bigger digital media outlets are starting to fall. In fact, we've been talking about this for many months as we watched the slow decay of Buzzfeed and many others. Just a few weeks ago, we lost The Messenger, which was a $1 billion enterprise that went broke in about 8 months. And, well, BuzzFeed is falling apart piece by piece. But today, about 4 hours ago, as I'm recording this, we lost another one, Vice Media. Let's get to the story. But first, do check out my website, beachpunk.us. That's right, beachpunk.us is my site. It's my merch. And I share that site with a couple of other creators. And we're trying to put together the very best quality for the very lowest price so you can get amazing gear like hats and shirts and stuffed animals and water bottles and coffee mugs and you name it, we're going to have it. So do check that out. But let's jump right into the story here as we say goodbye to Punkwaddle. And let's talk about Vice Media. They're going to stop publishing their website. They're going to stop publishing on their website. This is a digital media outlet that's going to stop publishing on their website. Going to publish with quote unquote partners. But what does this mean? Well, it means they're laying off, as the headline here says, hundreds. Let's scroll through the story very quickly and take a look at this. It looks like Vice Media is going to stop publishing its website. They announced earlier today. CEO Bruce Dixon said it is no longer cost effective to distribute our digital content the way we have previously done. Well, you distributed it digitally, on people's screens. You didn't even have to invest in ink or paper. You didn't have to have a paper boy deliver it. How is this going to get out there? Well, according to this memo, Vice is going to reduce its workforce by several hundred positions, noting the decision was not made lightly, which is a wonderful way of saying we don't have any more money. We can't possibly afford all these people that we hired for their incredible ability to virtue signal and fabricate things and frame actual news, turning it into fake news full of opinions and not a lot of information. And of course, that wasn't the way it always was at Vice, but oftentimes when things start out good and pure, they oftentimes go very bad very quickly. But anyway, according to Dixon, this is the best path forward for Vice as we position the company for long-term financial and creative success. Well, if you hadn't been so creative with the news and so targeted in your messaging, you may not have had this problem. But as the article mentions here from our folks over at The Hill, Vice is the latest in a slew of digital media companies that have been forced to lay off staff as a cost-cutting measure in an increasingly tough digital advertising market. No lies there. Increased fragmentation across the media landscape and fast-changing news consumption habits. Well, yeah, people would like to have actual information and not a whole lot of spin. But as I mentioned before, the Messenger was shuttered less than a year after it launched. They lost hundreds of employees. And legacy media brands such as the WAPO, oh my goodness, and the Los Angeles Times, words are hard, and others have also cut journalism jobs in recent months. So Vice Media, being founded in the 90s, branched into digital journalism, broadcast, and creative services. All right. Last March, news outlet Semaphore, which is also a new up-and-comer in digital media, reported that former CEO and co-founder Shane Smith sold more than $100 million in his own shares in the company after it raised $500 million in 2014. Moving forward, Vice Media will look to partner with an established media company and streamline our operations. It's pretty easy to read that. You can read that as we're getting rid of our employees. Look, I'm never cheering for people to lose their jobs. Don't get me wrong. There are probably some very good quality journalists that work for this outlet. The problem is, I don't think they were allowed to practice journalism, and that kind of led to their downfall. Uh, there's so many different stories that they could have covered in a very fair way, a balanced way, an unbiased way, that, well, would have led to enormous success just for the sheer fact that they decided to tell the truth. But as I mentioned before, they're not the only ones because, well, I think it was yesterday, or maybe it was today. Buzzfeed has sold their Complex, their creative venture, the digital media company, a pop culture startup, for $108.6 million. I guess it's selling it to a shopping network. Anyway, so they only owned it for about 3 years and paid $294 million for it. This is not good business. You can't lose over well, gosh, what is that? Almost $200 million? You can't afford to lose that kind of money. You just can't. And yeah, it looks like there's some severance costs that are going to be paid by BuzzFeed to some employees, layoffs, and so on. The company is also said to lay off about 16% of its remaining workforce, and they think that'll save them about $23 million annually. So, yeah, is this a good sign for digital media? I don't think so. Interestingly enough, and again, this was just yesterday that CEO Jonah Peretti told, the Los Angeles Times and others exactly what was going on over at BuzzFeed. He said that reducing the workforce 16% is a way to cut costs. And obviously selling their Complex investment is a way to get rid of something that they probably shouldn't have purchased in the first place. Looks like they're going to hit all of their different teams over there, everything they have left, which is HuffPost, which is incredibly biased, Tech, BuzzFeed Studios, Tasty, and First We Feast. I guess those won't be receiving the kinds of cuts that everything else is, which, well, they should probably have them cut costs. My goodness. So it's going to be the business and administrative teams that are going to suffer that 16%. Not going to be a lot of people left there to row this boat. And of course, they're already getting into the powered by AI and interactive content or generative AI formats. We talked about that a few months ago when they first started talking about it as a way to rescue their business. I guess they didn't do it quickly enough, but the BuzzFeed stock price is now down to 22 cents. That's obviously a fraction of their value when they went public in December of 2021 at $10.95 a share, and then proceeded to head downward. In fact, I reported on that pretty extensively. So the stock is in danger of being delisted. Why? Because if it's below $1 for 30 consecutive days, it just gets delisted. And, well, all that money that went into the initial public offering would have been wasted. It has until May to regain compliance. And I guess in after hours trading yesterday, it came up to 44 cents. I haven't looked in on it today. This one fell off my radar pretty quick when it got down there under $5 and we knew the end was near. They're not going to be the last, obviously, and neither is Vice. Vice is not going to be the last. Many of these entities won't survive probably the next year. And I don't see an end in sight. Advertising dollars digitally are down. The economy is not in great shape, and people don't have time to indulge frivolous news that they know is not real. So, Vice Media, as I put down here below, is well and truly dead. I wonder, what do we think will be next? Anyway, I thought this would be a fun story to talk about because, well, we've talked about it for quite some time. I have a feeling that Tim Pool probably will do a segment this very evening on this, and probably several others will probably follow along over the course of the next few days. I'm again not stomping on the funerals, stomping on the graves and cheering at the funerals of the people who lost their jobs. I'm very sorry for them. It's difficult to be unemployed, even if it's willfully. Believe me, I know. And I can tell you that the stress that comes along with that, not just the financial stress, but everything else, because oftentimes you are dependent upon. So I hope these folks find productive means of supporting themselves and the other people that they're responsible for very quickly. I just think they're going to find it challenging in an environment that was, well, created out of such a divisive path of politics and rhetoric. And for entities that supported that, like Vice and Buzzfeed, there's a little bit of comeuppance involved. And for that, I'm also sorry. On that note, let me know what you think. What do you think about all these digital outlets going by the wayside? Are you unaffected? Did you not pay attention to anything that they produced? Or are you a little sad or melancholy because they were fun to look at and laugh at when you needed that chuckle? Let me know what you think down in the comments section below. And again, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and a reminder, if you're not subscribed, do turn that little red button to gray. It's free, and it's going to help me get to 20K. Until next time, see ya.